Hi students. This video is going to talk about interest groups. Interest groups are actually something we talked about pretty briefly way back when we were talking about the crafting of the Constitution. Interest groups, as we know them today, were called by the Founding Fathers as factions, right? Because they are a specific group of people with very specific concerns who are attempting to influence the government, right? So the Founding Fathers, especially Hamilton and Madison, in the Federalist Papers warned us against factions because factions do not tend to represent the common good. They tend to represent very specific, nuanced, particularized policy prescriptions and things that they advocate for, right? It's like the NRA advocates for guns and gun owners, right? The ACLU advocates for civil liberties. The Sierra Club advocates for environmental concerns, right? They're not global issues. They're very particularized issues that these groups advocate for. And so the Founding Fathers said in order to mitigate their power and influence, we need to have lots of them. So they compete against each other for power. And that's what we have now. We have interest groups for everything. We have groups that represent nurses, doctors, tobacco farmers, pipe welders, writers, theater actors. We have interest groups for the environment, for gun owners, for students, for teachers. We have thousands upon thousands. Every thing you can think of, right? Any political group or any entity, any cause has an interest group attached to it. And interest groups serve three particular purposes, right? First thing they do is they link people to the government. Okay, they are what's known in political science as a linkage institution because they connect people to the government, right? Everyone who's a member of the Sierra Club gets emails about what's going on in terms of government policy with regards to the environment. So people find out what the government is doing on that particular issue. They're also given ways in which they can try and influence the political process, right? So interest groups try to influence the political process in this way. They also link people to other people who are of a similar mindset. So if you are a member of a labor union, right? A labor union acts as an interest group as it advocates for your group. It links all people who might be, stevedores, right? Dock workers, links them all together. And they are able to associate with like-minded people from the same institutions, same line of work, same philosophy. They're linked together through that organization. The last thing they do is they advocate for their group. They try to enact change. They try to create policy proposals or try to prevent policy proposals that will benefit their group. They want to protect their group. They want to advocate for their group. And the effectiveness of an organization depends upon three qualities, right? Depends on their size, how much money they have, and how enthusiastic or how energetic their members are, right? If we think about, again, participation requiring time, energy, and knowledge, the assumption is if you are a member of one of these groups, you are particularly energetic about the cause, right? So it's easy for the group to convince you to take action. But still, you've got the whole time and knowledge issues. So groups try to make it incredibly easy for you to participate. So like the Sierra Club, if there's an issue of environmental concern, they will send you an email saying, hey, dear valued member, we know you love the environment, but guess what? This issue is happening right now in Congress, and we want you to help us stop it, right? We want you to help stop the, laxing of regulations on the coal industry, right? You may not know a lot about the coal industry, but here's a brief description of what's going on. And not only that, here's a petition you can sign right now by clicking this link. It makes it incredibly easy for you to participate in the process. And because they make it incredibly easy to participate in the process, their size matters, right? Size matters in terms of interest groups. Because people who are part of an interest group are voters. They're more likely to vote than people who are not engaged with interest groups. So the size of your group actually matters, okay? If you have a really big national interest group like the NRA, with millions upon millions of people who are registered with the NRA as members. That's millions upon millions of voters who are highly energetic and highly motivated to get things done. Politicians pay attention to that, right? And they respond to that because politicians want to get reelected. And because organizations like the ACLU, like the NRA, like the Sierra Club, like labor unions, have so many members who are dedicated and passionate and will vote, they want to try and please those organizations by enacting policies because they want to keep their job. People love to talk about money. Interest groups buy elections, interest groups donate. Yes, they donate, all right? Yes, they give money. But what matters more than anything else is size. You can get money anywhere if you're a political candidate. You can collect money from anyone, anywhere, right? Size is what matters. Size is what you pay attention to, all right? Size ultimately determines your power, okay? As I talked about, they try to create change. They try to enact change. Let's talk a little bit about that. So, actions that interest groups take, or actions that they want their members to take. First thing that interest groups try to do is they try to educate the public. So, who are they? What are the issues they care about, and what's going on in government? They want you to be well educated and informed, so that way you can take action. They'll educate you about who's running for public office, who supports the issues that they care about, who doesn't support the issues that they care about. You know, they can do this with television ads, emails, leaflets, advertisements in newspapers, right? They want to educate the public, to get the public to care about the issues they care about and act accordingly. They engage in litigation. They'll sue. The ACLU will often sue the federal government or state governments for violating people's civil liberties. Right? That's an action they take. They lobby. They try to influence the government by direct interaction with legislators. Right? A lobbyist for a labor union will go meet with a member of Congress to try and talk about issues that matter to that labor union, to try and influence potential legislation, or to try and get the member of Congress to vote for or against a law that's already being considered in Congress. And they engage in electioneering. They try to influence the outcome of elections because they care about their members, they care about their causes, and they want to elect people who will also care about and advance those particular causes. And the primary means through which they do this, in addition to having lots of members who they educate and inform and then send out to go vote, is through what are known as political action committees, or PACs. PACs are the electioneering arm, the electoral arm of interest groups. Right? They do all these things, right? They educate the public. They try to get their members to act, to go out and vote, to care about particular causes. But they also do something else, which is they raise money and spend money on political issues, right? So there's two main ways candidates get money, right? There's what's known as hard money, which is, here's me. I've, worked hard for my money, and I care about good old Abe Lincoln over here with his top hat. I like Abe Lincoln. I want Abe Lincoln to run for office. I think Abe Lincoln would be a great president. I'm going to give Abe Lincoln $25 to run for office, right? I physically, or electronically, right, I give money to the candidate, right? That's known as hard money, money that's given directly to the candidate from a particular individual or an organization. And there are limits to the amount of hard money that any one person or organization can give directly to a candidate, right? There are laws that say I can only give, I think it's $2,200 to a particular candidate, right? Once I hit that amount, I can't give that candidate any more money. Doesn't matter how much I love Abe Lincoln, I can only give him $2,200. The NRA can only give him the same amount of money. Greenpeace can only give him that amount of money, right? Organizations and people are bound by law by how much money they can directly give to a candidate. But there are ways around that. There's what's known as soft money, all right? I am a member of the NRA. I want to support the NRA's efforts to elect certain members of Congress who will advocate for what the NRA wants and what I want, okay? I give money to the NRA's Political Action Committee. There are very few limits on how much money I can give to that political action committee, but there's still some, all right? That political action committee takes lots and lots of money from all these members, and they find a particular candidate they like. They like Abe Lincoln. They're very happy with Abe Lincoln. They smile upon Abe Lincoln. Instead of giving money directly to Abe Lincoln, because they're limited in how much money they can give, what they do is they spend what's called soft money. They spend money in support of Lincoln. So they take money and they buy TV ads, or they buy newspaper or magazine ads, or they print flyers, and they do this in support of the particular candidate, right? And there is no limit to the amount of money they can spend doing that. Because, as we talked about when we talked about civil rights and civil liberties, something that is protected under the First Amendment is political speech. So advocating for a political issue is protected speech, and you can't limit it. So the Supreme Court has said you cannot stop soft money. You cannot ban it. We've tried to ban it twice in the United States. And both times the Supreme Court has said you can't do that because it's political speech. So PACs, interest groups, can collect as much money as they want and spend unlimited amounts of money in support of candidates by indirectly, by supporting them through indirect means, right? Through advertising is one sort of the main examples here, right? They don't give money directly to the candidate. What they do is they take the money, they go around the candidate and run ads in favor of that candidate or in favor of a political issue or attacking that candidate's opponent. And so this is where things sort of get dicey in American politics. When people talk about, well, special interest groups dominate elections because they have so much money. It's not that special interests are giving lots and lots of money to candidates. It's that they're supporting, there's an indirect supporting of a candidate here, right? It's not directly giving the candidate money. It's going around the candidate to do things that advance the causes of that candidate in an unlimited fashion, right? So that gives them a lot of power if we think that the media is able to influence, the way people vote and the way people perceive politics. If we think that's true, then advertising impacts people, and political action committees and interest groups have a big influence on our electoral process in this way. So this is where campaign finance laws get really tricky. This is where people are very passionate about limiting money in politics. It's because of this stuff, right? It's not the direct donations that people have a problem with, although I'm sure some people do, but that's limited and there's strict laws about that. This is a lot more lax, okay?